Hello and welcome in. I'm Joe LaGrippo, Q30 President, joined alongside Owenea Roberts running for SGA President. How you doing, Owenea?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself, Joe?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us. So let's start off by kind of introducing yourself to the student body a little bit. So give us a little background as to why and when you joined SGA.
Well, my name's Owenea Roberts. I'm an international student from Bermuda. I'm currently a junior by credits, but I'm 18 because I got my high school diploma and associate's degree at the same time. I'm currently in the 3+1 program with accounting and a minor in finance. I joined SGA when I came in the fall, and I started off as the Multicultural and Identity Senator. And when I tell you, I loved it. It was an amazing opportunity to connect with the underrepresented and hear their voices. And a special election was held in the fall, and I ultimately became the Vice President for Finance. As hard as it is, it has actually been one of my most rewarding positions. To be able to give orgs, the funds and everything to have their events and see how amazing they do, which is just amazing.
That's awesome. So what are some of the main things you're running on this year that you want to enact for the following year?
The first thing I'm running on is campus unity. As a person of color, it's quite upsetting to see that the SGA numbers in diversity are quite low, and that most students, not even just people of color, but students in general, just don't feel connected to SGA. Yes, SGA is a governing body, but we're students too at the end of the day, and I would prefer if students would come talk to us. So I want students to be like, yeah, SGA is a student. The SGA president, Owenea Roberts, she would be amazing for someone to talk to. She actually listens to me. The next thing I'm running on is fixing campus issues, parking, dining hall, dorms. They're just a mess. Considering we pay $70,000 a year, it is ridiculous. And I think someone needs to take a stand for that. I am part of the student body, so I hear these complaints, but it's just like students would talk, but they're getting into nowhere. So I believe I'll be able to take a stand and work towards that. Like things such as the commuter meal plan only being 200 points is quite absurd.
So obviously these are hard pressing issues that a lot of students have expressed concerns over. How do you plan on making sure that these are things that you're completing at the end of your tenure?
Me, I'm a very determined person and I have a very strong personality. So I feel like me meeting with administrators and staying on top of it, usually I take no for an answer, but only when it's valid. But me being, the leader of the student body and being able to hear their concerns, it's upsetting considering we pay $70,000 a year. So I have no problem meeting with administrators on a regular basis, hearing what they have to say, taking it back to the student body. That's what the person I want to be. I want to tell the students it doesn't matter where they come from, what they identify as, that they matter and that they're being heard. So I'm going to make a huge effort to try and fix these things because I personally feel like, especially with parking, they're being swept under the rug.
Now, I know you mentioned campus unity. That's another thing that I've heard as a concern from other students. Why is that so important to you?
Me being a person of color, it's, coming to Quinnipiac, it's obvious, it's a PWI, it's like 75% white. But just because it's, majority white doesn't mean that the campus has to be separated. And SGA is a huge part of that, just separate it from the campus. Like students don't want to come in the SGA suite, it's actually an open space. So it's just like, I want students to come together. Like we're at Quinnipiac, it's only 10,000 students. And I personally feel like me being the SGA president, it's going to be hard because not everyone wants to come together. But I feel like, it doesn't hurt to start and make an effort.
How can students make sure that they understand what's going on within SGA?
I will always keep my social media updated as well as going to the PR person, well, with permission from the PR person, because it's not fair that, because I'm a very transparent person. You can ask anyone in SGA. I'm very honest. And it's just like, I'm not going to hide anything from them. If they want the truth, they want updates, I'm going to let them know, hey, this isn't working. Hey, there's been no progress, and I'm trying the best I can.
Obviously, with your previous roles on SGA, you've learned a lot, I'm assuming, and obviously taking on the biggest position that you can so far. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned, and how are you going to take that with you into next year?
Being the VP for Finance as well as the M&I, the biggest lesson I've learned is that I can't please everyone. There are days I have to tell orgs, no, or I'm sorry, this can't happen in time. And me being the president, I feel like that'll work because being able to promise such huge things to the community, there's a good chance it might not work. But as long as you're trying, I feel that that would help with the students. So that's, not everything can happen. But as long as you're making an effort or come to a joint conclusion, then I think the student body, obviously they might not be satisfied. But as long as you're making effort, I feel like that's what matters.
Being the president of SGA obviously comes with the territory of being under the spotlight, taking criticism. How would you go about that?
As long as it's constructive criticism, well, all criticism, sometimes it could be mean, sometimes it could be nasty, but it's just like, I'm able to take that, like a champ. So I think I'll be fine taking the criticism. I've been bullied before. It doesn't faze me, and I think this is a position I'll be able to handle well in the spotlight.
Now, in a year from now, what's the one thing, if there was one thing, what would you want the students to remember you by in your tenure?
I want them to remember me as a fighting president, a president that never gave up, a president that always fought for them. I would stand on the sidewalk and protest with students if I have to, because they're paying the money to go to the school. They deserve to have the utmost quality. They don't deserve to have crappy parking and crappy dorms, things like that. They don't deserve to have, crappy, the professors aren't crappy, but, things like that. So I believe that I would be known as the president that actually fought for them, not the president that just promises stuff and just leaves.
All right, Owenea, thank you so much for your time. And for more information, you can follow us on Twitter at Q30 News. And the candidate town hall is this Monday in the Piazza at 9:15 p.m.